What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here on a daily basis in our country that you need to know about, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on our new videos here on our YouTube channel. They come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. First off, we're going to hear from Senator Joe Manchin on what he has to say here regarding the price of oil and a lot of different things here in the next stimulus package. Here we go. Check this out.
And joining me now is Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. He, of course, chairs the Senate's Energy and Natural Resources Committee. Senator Manchin, welcome back to Meet
Good to be with you.
Meet
Good
the
to be
press.
with you, Chuck.
Look, you were on this Zoom with President Zelensky
Right.
yesterday. Before I get into the details, just, what was that like with him? What did he say to you guys?
It was so surreal, but to have a person there in the front, on the front lines, taking mortars every day and basically seeing his people being slaughtered and willing to withstand all of this and fight back, and all he asked for was basically, just help me, I'll fight my own fight, just give me the tools to do it. And for us to hesitate, or anyone to hesitate in the free world, is wrong. And he said that. He said, listen, if Ukraine falls, then Europe may fall. Where do you want to stop?
So what does that mean for you? Are you right now, would you support a no-fly zone? Would you support doing this, which could trigger a wider conflict?
I understand that, but right now you don't signal to the nemesis of Putin. This is Putin's war. This is not the Russian people's war. This is Putin's war and his quest for whatever it may be. But to take anything off the table thinking we might not be able to use things because we've already taken them off the table is wrong. I would take nothing off the table, but I would be very clear that we're going to support the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian president, and this government every way humanly possible. Zelensky was very clear. He says, we don't need you to fight our fight. We don't need you to fly our planes or fly your planes into our war zone. We need the planes that we can fly ourselves, and we have them on the border.
Right. You heard Secretary Blinken. That deal seems to be at least in motion.
I hope it's very
quickly. The trading
quickly,
of jets with the Poles in particular.
Absolutely.
Correct?
We need to backfill that.
All right. On the oil and gas embargo, you heard the Secretary's answer. Basically, he's saying, yes, we're in favor of it if the entire alliance does it too, which sounds like there is an interest in doing it unilaterally. Is there a majority support in Congress for it unilateral?
I believe, and I would say this, the people in my state of West Virginia believe it's basically foolish for us to keep buying products and giving profit and giving money to Putin to be able to use against the Ukrainian people. That's exactly what he's doing. So why wouldn't we lead? Why wouldn't we show the resolve we have? I understand there's more dependency in the world, but here's the problem. We have the ability to ratchet up and be able to backfill. We have the energy, we have the resources here, and we have the technology. We're 1 million barrels short a day right now that we can just ramp up like that. We can do certain things, and we don't have to put any more pain on the American people than are already suffering with inflation now.
Right.
But I believe the American people would, if they basically pay, if they had to, seeing that they're saving freedom and saving lives of people, innocent people.
We've seen some polling that indicates that for now, okay?
That's a difficult one.
Let's see what happens when it's $5 gas.
Well, look at the gas now at $4. It wasn't because of this. Inflation's already wreaked havoc on it now. And basically, we're going to say we're going to set back now because we're afraid it might go up a little bit more. It might go up anyway, and we haven't done nothing. I'm willing to at least do something and say whatever it would take, we're going to ramp up our energy. We're going to basically produce the oil, the natural gas, build the pipelines. We've been stymied. We're not getting anything done from the standpoint of energy. We can do both, Chuck. We can do the energy that we need as far as in this fossil world that we live in. And do it cleaner than anybody else in the world and innovation. But we can also transition to a cleaner technology.
Now, is this the price of your involvement in new talks on a reconciliation bill with Democrats and with the president? Meaning, like, look, you sort of outlined some top lines here. You said, it needs to lower the deficit. I'd like to do prescription drugs. And if there's anything else left, then maybe we can talk about other things. But you also had a big circle around energy independence there. Does that come, you want to see an increase in energy production before you'll sit down with Biden?
Let me say the most important thing, and the thing that I'm worried about every day is inflation right now. It's affecting every West Virginian, every American that I know of has basically told me the high prices they're paying they can't sustain. And it's hurting the people that need it the most, people that are working like the Dickens, trying to make a living. They need help. So inflation is the number one thing. Basically supporting Ukraine and saving freedom and democracy around the world, because it will permeate if we don't stop it. Next of all, we can do all of this, okay? But you got to get your financial house in order. My grandfather always said, Joe, he said, unmanaged debt will make cowardly decisions out of you. You'll make a cowardly decision. We've got to get that under control.
Is this war in Europe make it harder to do this deal with the president or easier?
I think it makes us more realistic. This is the real world. We keep talking these aspirational things we want to do, whether it's the far left, far right, whatever it may be. Forget about the aspiration. We're living in a real world. Global climate is global. It's not North American. It's not United States only. It's global. And we have to look at this as global, what we can do. Our energy that we produce in America is better and cleaner than any place else in the world. So anything that we backfill is going to be better than what they produce. The gas from LNG that we can send over, expanding the ports. We've got basically requests for permits that are still standing and we haven't given. We need to do that. We got pipeline. I got a Mountain Valley pipeline in the state of West Virginia that it'll take 2 BCF, 2 billion cubic feet a day into the marketplace immediately. And you know what? It's 95% done. I can't get it done.
What do you say to those that say if we continue to expand fossil fuel infrastructure, like pipelines like that, it just makes it harder for us to get to clean?
Let me just tell you one thing. They said the pipelines. Those can't eventually transition into hydrogen pipelines. We can do so much with that. It's the clean technology that we're going for. It's almost like if you don't stop this, you won't do this. That's not right, Chuck.
All right, who are you negotiating with? The president or Senator Schumer?
There's no formal talks going on right now, I can assure you. Basically, everybody talks. I talk to everybody. You
threw it out there, and it's up to
I'm
others
just
to
saying,
come to
get your
you?
financial house in order. The only one thing all Democrats voted, we voted against the 2017 Republican tax cuts. We thought they were weighted unfairly. If you have one thing that you're all united on, fix it.
Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Chuck. Good to be with you.
So yeah, Senator Joe Manchin, you know, he says a lot of good things about we do need to be energy independent now. We do export about 38% of our oil. We are the #1 largest oil producer in the world. Russia and Saudi Arabia are #2 and #3. They're both very, very close. If we didn't export so much of our oil, we could literally be energy independent. But we do buy other oil, and we also sell about 38% of our oil as well. So there's a lot of economics that go on there as well. But we have now banned Russian oil, but that's only about 5 to 8% of our oil. So, but remember, gas has been going up here for the last month, even without the ban. Now the ban is in, and we're going to see how much that affects our economy. Well, not really our economy. It's going to affect their economy more so than ours, but how it's going to affect the price of our gas and diesel, if it's going to affect it a lot or a little here going forward, and the price of oil. The price of oil, as I reported in our last video, has kind of stabilized a little bit for now around as you can see here, around 121 a barrel for WTI crude and 126 a barrel for Brent crude. This is actually down a little bit. Brent crude was over 130 a barrel. So since the president actually announced that executive order, the prices for these have actually come down a little bit. Again, this is traded on a global scale, not just the U.S. scale. Okay, the price of oil is not really traded in the U.S. It's traded on a global scale. Okay, so surprisingly, the price of oil has come down. Now, the price of gas in the U.S. has gone up because this is, you know, it's a lagging indicator. Remember, the price of oil goes up, gas goes up for the next few days. Okay, but these prices of oil have kind of stabilized here. Now, whether or not that's going to continue for the next few days, for the next few weeks, we have no idea what's going to happen in the future. Largely, a lot of that is dependent on what's going to happen in Russia, and Putin shows no signs of stopping at this point. In fact, Russia just continues to be just pounded with economic sanctions. MasterCard, Visa, and American Express stopped all transactions in Russia, and since then, and the SWIFT has been pulled from their banking systems. Companies are literally pulling out of Russia. Now McDonald's has paused and pulled out of all of Russia, including 850 locations. Check this out.
Yeah, when it opened, Mike, in 1990 on Pushkin Square, it was an international story. It was a a massive symbol of what turned out to be a much larger integration of the Soviet Union and then Russia into the outside world, from which you'll remember had been cut off for most of 70 years before that. You know, for Russians, it was probably as much a curiosity. It was a huge change from anything that they'd been used to beforehand. It was part of the introduction of consumerism. They didn't have fast food. They certainly didn't have a place that offered the same quality of the same product available at the same time in the same way. For McDonald's, of course, it was an unbelievable undertaking. They were trying to provide customer service in a country that really had none, to engineer supply lines and quality products in a place where those things were scarce to non-existent.
So, Steve, what do you suppose it means to Russians today? I did not realize the history and the significance ran that deep.
Yeah, I mean, you see the pictures of the lines, people lining up there. My guess is right now, those who oppose this war are going to understand why it's happening and see it as, you know, just another rollback of this 30 years of progress that's being taken away every day in their lives. I don't suspect anybody's going to miss it all that much relative to the other things being taken away. But the trouble is, those who support the war are probably going to view it as another unjust action by the West for what they think is a modest military operation in Ukraine that they've been convinced is totally justified. And so a hugely symbolic on the way in for everyone, but different symbolism on the way out. And of course, Sarah, Pepsi was the first one in there, 1984. And now, as Mike said in his read-in, that's gone too.
No, yeah, and they just announced it this hour. They said they came in at the height of the Cold War to try to establish relationship there between Russia and the U.S.
I think it was 84.
To do it. Steve, thank you.
Yeah, so McDonald's closes 850 locations in Russia. Starbucks and Coca-Cola now have suspended their businesses, Russia, and GE. GE has said they will keep on their electricity because they're not going to shut off electricity for Russians there, and essential services like medical services. But literally companies pulling out by the day out of Russian economy. Major oil companies like BP, Chevron, or BP, Shell, and Exxon have all pulled out billions and billions of dollars, just completely pulled out. And what's left for the Russian economy? Honestly, you had to say that Putin didn't expect this to happen. And the problem is now, if you were Putin, what do you do at this point? Like, if you just retreat, you're seen as a loser and a failure. But who wants to do business with him now besides China, which China was already doing business with him, so there's no gain there. The problem is that businesses that aren't from China, how do they even do business there with the average everyday consumer? There's no credit cards. There's no Visa. There's no MasterCard. There's no American Express. I mean, those are worldwide global countries or companies. So they can't, how does somebody even pay? And if they pay with rubles, those are they're worth a fraction of what they were worth. So the people that even live there, their money is now worth a fraction of what it used to be worth. And whenever they actually even open the Russian stock market, the Moscow Stock Exchange, heaven forbid, that thing's going to plummet as well. So, because people are just going to flock to take their money out because it's been closed for days. It dropped by almost 50% in the first day that they actually invaded Ukraine. So Russia's they're taking a heavy, heavy toll for what Putin has done already. And I mean, of course it's worse for Ukraine, but it's just like, I don't really think Putin expected this. You know, I think he just expected for Ukraine to just give up or fold. And but honestly, there's not going to be any winners out of this. Who's a winner out of this? There's no winners. Also, there's thousands of Russians stuck in Thailand as the sanctions have kicked in. Now their Visa and MasterCards and American Express don't work, and their rubles have dramatically dropped, and they might not even have the money to be able to get back now. And they might not even have a payment method to get back. So, and again, some of these Russians might not even share the same, idea as Putin, but some may not. Also, the House and the Senate plan to vote on potentially another stopgap bill, a continuing resolution bill to avert a government shutdown here this week, which they need to do by the end of day Friday, or we will have a government shutdown. They had planned for a longer term resolution for government funding, but with the whole Russian war going on, um, they really didn't expect that to happen a month ago. And now things have just kind of been, the whole world's been kind of thrown on its head. Um, so they're probably going to do a stopgap bill, continuing resolution yet again. And there could be aid for Ukraine in there. There could be additional coronavirus aid in there. We'll have to see what they actually come to a deal with, if they come to a deal by the end of Friday. Remember, they have to pass it both in the House, the Senate, and send it to the presidency. And really, there's just a lot going on. There's just a lot going on, and uh, who actually knows? I mean, literally day by day here with the whole Russian war and the rising price of gas, the rising price of oil, and the rising price of everything is going to also ensue, because that just really literally rises the price of everything else here in the U.S. Um, Honestly, I think we're going to see a lot more stimulus checks, at least at the bare minimum, on the state levels. If you watched my last video, you know that we're really seeing a lot of states step up and say, you know what, we got to start giving back, because all these states have billions of dollars, or at least $1 billion or more, depending on the size of the state. So we're really starting to see more and more state governors. It's not just California anymore. I mean, even though last year there was, what was it? Was it either 21 or 29 states that announced tax cuts last year? But a lot of states are doing either tax cuts, gas repeal, pausing their gas taxes, or at least their gas tax inflation raises. But a lot of states are going to be doing a variety of different things, whether it's pausing their gas taxes, reducing their gas taxes, giving stimulus checks, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. There's a whole bunch of different state programs as well, in addition to what Congress, the federal Congress, might be doing here this year. And now with inflation and the price of gas, which affects everything inflation wise here in 2022, it's kind of like a whole new stimulus initiative going on here. And now stimulus on the state level for each state is almost like a whole nother round of stimulus going on here now. We have so many different states just kind of announcing stimulus checks or stimulus programs every week, almost every single week. So I will keep you up to date here with, as each state is doing this here. I will let you know as soon as I know about them. So don't miss any new videos. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. So just click the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and help us reach 400,000 subscribers. We're at 399,000. After subscribing, click the bell icon that's next to the subscribe button to get reminders when we go live with new videos. Also, click here to see my most recent video, which shows that most recent state stimulus check that was just announced. Definitely watch that video next. So click on that. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.